All right, y'all, it is 8 o'clock and we're going to get started here. Like I said, we got a quick little presentation and then we're going to open it up because myself and Samantha really want to hear from y'all. We're doing something a little different this time. Samantha's going to be helping me co-host. Y'all know Samantha is. She's been here a few times before. She hosts her own shows on Instagram. On Monday night, she has Miracle Mondays, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Samantha, which is a Bible study. And on Thursday, she does I Was Her. Was that I Was Her?
Yeah, you did. You said that right. I was her. I took a break from it. But I was her that I was doing on Thursdays, which is all about relationships and conversations about that. And then Monday was the Bible study that I lead now. Before Real Talk Kim led it for me.
What times do you do it, Samantha?
So every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live with a young lady named Erica. She's from Chicago. I'm in Atlanta. And we do our own version, well, my own version of a Bible study, where I go through and I kind of teach the scripture and talk about the background of it, just kind of giving historical context and things of that nature. And then I build from there, you know, how I apply it and how other people could possibly apply it. But I want to make sure that I teach the context of the scripture that we're reading, because a lot of times people don't understand what was going on at the time. And some of the Bible is prescriptive and descriptive. So there's different things. So anyway, that's what the Monday night show is. The Thursday night show, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. That's my profession. And so as a therapist, and things of that nature, I go on, not so much as like a therapist, but I go on as somebody that's had a lot of experience in dating, relationships, things of that nature. And I just give advice as if you my homegirl or homeboy, like I just give advice relationship wise. I mean, I have guest people that come on the show that's been really fun.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, Samantha's going to help us out today, y'all. She sent a good portion of this topic here, and a lot of the video we're going to look at and break down. Yeah. She sent it to me a few weeks ago, and I told her we're definitely going to do it because it's definitely interesting and it's something that's affecting all of us. So I just want to thank Samantha for helping us out. So we'll get started here. Hold on, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear that, and I don't know if I click the share audio. Hold on. Let me stop my share. Let me share again. Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna share sound because I know that wasn't shared.
Yeah, I heard it once it first came on.
Okay.
How'd it go last night?
Well, okay.
Just okay? Must have gone pretty well. You didn't get home until the middle of the night.
I went for a walk so I could sort some things out that was in my head that I was tripping on.
Like the fact that you're still in love with Jacqueline, right?
Angela, I saw the woman and a bunch of stuff that was in me I didn't even know was still there came out. Things happen. And there's certain things you just have no control over, right?
Really? Like what?
Like love.
Love. You know, what do you know about love? What do you possibly think you know about love? You know, I'm sick and tired of men using love like it's some kind of disease you just catch. Love should have brought your ass home last night.
Didn't you just hear me say I was sorry?
I heard you say you're sorry. You're sorry and you're tired. You don't love me. You don't love Jacqueline. You only love your damn self.
How could you say I never cared about you? You know, Jacqueline says that I'm a better person now, and I know I owe that all to you.
Wow. All right, so there we go. That was for the movie Boomerang. If you don't know, if you're past 32 and you don't know what the movie Boomerang is, your black card is instantly revoked. That's like a classic, one of my top 10 favorite movies, just something fun to get us started. I just want to say welcome to everybody who's new. A little bit about what this group is about: encouragement toward better health and relationships. We're not a singles group, we're a friends group, different expectations. We're about socializing with other positive people. We do online and in-person meetups. We don't discriminate on others based on race, religion, or sexual orientation. A little bit about the different levels of membership within the group. It's just something fun we do for meetup. If you're new to the group, you're force sensitive. As you interact with the group, you just kind of move up the Jedi ranks. This is a whole thing I got from the, just something nerdy that I decided to do, something fun for the group. Don't pay too much mind to it, but that's just what it is. If you've been looking at meetup and you say, well, what does that mean? I'm Jedi, or what does all that stuff mean? This is kind of what it is. Just something fun we do, just basically it's for participation. So some context on why we're having these discussions is to meet new people and see where they stand on important relationship issues, to learn more about the opposite sex, and to restore and encourage healthy relationships through engaging in conversation, to see more two-parent households or nuclear families. This here is a stat that comes from the Institute of, I think it's Institute of Family Studies, and you can see that in the Black community, when it comes to children being raised in households without a father, we have the lowest stats of all other groups, and it's on decline across the board. But we're exceptionally struggling in that department. Prior to the 1960s and 70s, Black folks were most married, and then something happened and we became least married. And for all groups across the board, the decline of marriage began to happen. And that's kind of a little bit what we'll be talking about a little bit today. But these are some factors I think on the right here that may have influenced it, but you never really know. These are some stats as of 2019. 50% of us have never been married. So there's a real relationship crisis in the Black community, and there's really a crisis overall, but especially so in the Black community. So that's why we're having these relationship conversations, to try to address some of that. So here's the title of the conversation is, why aren't we prioritizing meaningful relationships? Then there's some other subtopics in there that I think kind of fit or coalesce into this main thing, which is, I think, is the root of the video that we'll look at and share and talk about. But I think that the main issue that I really want to get to the bottom of here, or try to at least, to figure out why aren't we prioritizing meaningful relationships. So like I said, Samantha inspired this conversation with the video, sent me in. Also in the last conversation, I don't know if anybody was here, but Jay had said something that said, marriage isn't the end goal for a lot of people. So I want to know, if marriage isn't the end goal, where's everybody at on that? But that's going to lead us right into our first poll of the night. And it's a gender-based poll. So the first one's for women, and then it's just real easy poll, real quick. And then the second one's for men. I just want to check temperature of the room, see where everybody stand on things before we really get going here. So first question is, marriage the end goal? And the second question is, are you currently taking steps toward pursuing a meaningful relationship or marriage? So this is for women only, and then we'll do the guys. So the poll is now launched. We'll give you about 45 seconds to a minute to answer. Results are pouring in here. Interesting. Okay. This is cool. Cool so far. Wow. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end it. I think most of the results are in. And let me share the results here. So for 90% of the ladies here, marriage is the end goal. But for like 70%, they're actively taking steps, and the other 25% aren't actively taking steps. So folks are being honest here. If one of the ladies who marriage isn't the end goal, if you want to just chime in really quickly, can you explain why marriage isn't the end goal for you? And then somebody else, one of the ladies who responded no, who marriage is the end goal, but you're not taking steps. Maybe y'all might want to chime in real quick. If not, we can keep it pushing. I know it's a lot of pressure.
Hi, I can share about from the perspective of marriage not being the end goal. I'm Jana.
Real quick.
This is Jana.
Okay, hey Jana.
I'm sorry I don't have my camera on. I'm working out. I'm trying to multitask right now. So, so marriage isn't the end goal for me because I've been married before. So I'm a divorcee, and so when that's something that the legal component and how difficult it is and complex it is to end it. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry, then I'm unmuted, but I was just commenting. It show is. Keep going.
It is hard and it is complex. And for me, an end goal more so is a partnership, an egalitarian partnership is more so my end goal in regards to a relationship.
All right, Tisha, did you do you want to respond to that second part of it? Are you currently taking steps?
I'm currently taking steps. I'm currently in a situationship, and yes, I did term it as a situationship because it's kind of it's gotten to the point where yes, marriage is an end goal for me, but it's quickly changing to more so me being on the fence about it, to be honest, just to be honest, like I've been in an on and off relationship for about 7 years, and I found myself trying to meet his needs while losing my voice, while losing sight of my needs. And it's like, do I really want to be in a marriage? Do I really want this? Am I being selfish?
All right, thanks, Tisha. Ashley, we'll get to you. We just got to keep it pushing, Ashley, but I see your hand. We'll get you in a little later. We'll keep it pushing here. Let me stop the share on the poll results. Let's see here. Oh, I got to do one for men, don't I? Yeah, let me ask the men. Let me ask the men the same thing. Sorry, y'all. Poll is now launched for the fellas. Go ahead, guys. Give y'all about 45 seconds to answer. People are still coming in. Some of the late arrivers. Give the guys a few more seconds. All right, look at the guys. I'm proud of y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and end it in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so one of the guys, same deal. One of the guys who marriage isn't the end goal, if you want to chime in real quick. Another one of the guys who answered yes to the first question, but then no, you're not actively taking steps. If you want to chime in on that second one, go ahead, just real quick.
Let me put myself on mute.
But wait now, why you show stats? Oh, there you go.
Nobody, none of the fellas? All right, give y'all 5, 4, 3. Oh, y'all scary. All right, we'll keep it pushing here. So here's some, now this isn't exhaustive, y'all. This is just from a male perspective, from my experience, why I think some of the reasons why men might be avoiding meaningful relationships. We're going to do a men's slide and then a woman's slide, and just kind of go from there. But let me see. Sex. I think sex is a major component of why a lot of men are avoiding meaningful relationships, because a lot of guys, I feel, we're in a constant pursuit of sex, and we're in constant pursuit of different varieties of sex. And the idea of a monogamous, long-term committed relationship, and it's as crazy as it may sound for a lot of women, but a lot of guys, that's a real consideration for a lot of guys, is like, especially if you have variety before in your past, and you're like, man, just one woman for the rest of my life, and I'm going to give up all that sex. It's a real dilemma for a lot of guys, but it's something I think that can be overcome. But I think that's a real reason why. Also, there's a new thing. Y'all ever heard the expression, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? So because we live in a society, and this is just my own thoughts here, y'all, so work with me, where we're seeing loosening sexual mores around sex and intimacy. Sex is a lot more accessible for men and for women than it has ever been before. So if a guy can extract sex from a woman without marriage, and I'm not saying that's the only thing that guys are looking for, but that's one of the key factors. Whereas in the old days, it used to be if you wanted to have intimacy in that way, if you wanted to have that sort of partnership, you need to get married. But nowadays, men don't have to have that. So there's not a real impetus for a lot of men to get married, because they have access to sex. They want more sex from different women. So I think that's one factor, just a small factor. It's not all inclusive. Poor cultural influences. I shared this on the last conversation we did. We talked about how a lot of guys clown Russell Wilson, say he's a cornball, he's this, that, and the third. He's just a man trying to support his family, take care of his wife, stepping up to the plate. Then you have guys who male podcast bloggers are kind of giving men, sometimes giving them some advice that may be harmful or detrimental to having a meaningful relationship or a prosperous relationship. So these are some of the things that are impacting men. And this can, if you're hearing a guy say, you don't need to date this sort of woman, and you're kind of internalizing that and taking it to heart, this sort of woman may be good for you. But you're thinking all women are this, or all women are that, black women are this, or black women are not that. And you internalize that and you have a negative view of the other sex. And thus you avoid a meaningful long-term relationship by listening to other people. Unaddressed trauma and esteem issues. And we'll get into that a little bit. And Diane, I don't know if Diane is here tonight, but she shared an article with me, and I forgot where it's from, but it talked about, and it was this very same topic here, why men are avoiding sex. I'm going to read this little excerpt real fast. It says, because it was written by a woman, but she did this survey and she talked to a lot of men, and she just came up with a consensus of what were some of the issues from men as to why they weren't pursuing meaningful relationships. She said, as a straight black woman burdened by the stigma of unworthiness, our directive is to look inward when dating rejection happens. But despite what we've heard repeatedly, there's a strong chance the single black man from across us at the dinner table, at the dinner date, is more stressed about how he's going to make marriage out of 15 cents. So there's economic things that are happening there. Emotional vulnerability isn't easy. This is where we talk about esteem issues, and economic vulnerability isn't easier. And alongside growing and healing in a society that's actively harmful, these are the poor cultural influences, many black men want to figure out their feelings and their finances before they deem themselves relationship ready. And I wholeheart with that last part in particular. Black men want to figure out their feelings and finances before they deem themselves relationship ready. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I'm in a different phase, a different stage in my life now, but I do remember being in my late 20s, early 20s, and feeling like I didn't, I had work to do financially before I tried to get into a relationship. And this is something that a lot of black men are struggling with at different areas across their age range. They're looking at economic things. They say, I can't afford a wife. I can't, and there's all kind of stuff going on in society today as well. You talk about just the different things we see culturally. So these are things that are playing in a lot of men's mind. And that has slipped my mind, but I take myself back to when I was in my 20s. And that was a real thing as to why a lot of men were not pursuing meaningful relationships.
A man do not deserve a woman if a man did not have the means to take care of her. And I'm not just talking about financially, but yes, financially as well. Mentally, spiritually, physically, make her feel safe.
Okay, so that was Mike Rashid. He's an influencer, real big into fitness and a business owner and what have you. But I had shared that post on my personal Instagram a while back, and I agree with it at the time. But there, he's kind of speaking to that thing where you talk about a man being not a man doesn't deserve a woman if he can't do X, Y, and Z. So it just goes to show that that's where a lot of men's heads are thinking. What do you think about that, Samantha? Do you think that before a guy can get into a relationship, he needs to be at a certain place financially before he pursues a meaningful relationship?
I think that no. I think that a man can be in a place where he's building and he can, make a relationship work with a woman that is there for the building process. You see the CEO, I can't think of his name, of Amazon, who was building. He was not where he is now. Of course, he ended up cheating on his wife, and now he's with the woman he cheated on her with. But nonetheless, he built that empire with her. The same thing with other women I know in my life that are in relationships with men, and they've been with them for 20 some odd years. They were nowhere where they are now. They were absolutely building, and they have had a very beautiful, fulfilling relationship that has grown, has evolved. And a lot of men, I think nowadays have sometimes have trust issues, not really sure what women want from them if they make a certain amount of money. Like, I don't know if they're looking for a sponsor or are they looking for a real meaningful relationship. And I think that you can kind of cut that out when a woman's been with you at a time where you maybe didn't have as much money. So you already know that she's down for you regardless of your financial situation. Because in marriage, ups and downs financially are inevitable. And so, you might be up, somebody else might be down, and you want to know that you're with somebody that is able to ride those highs and lows with you. If you meet somebody only when you're high, then you may not know whether they're with you for you or they're with you because you at a high level financially.
Mm-hmm. And I agree completely. And that used to not be my mindset. that I thought that I had to be at a certain place before I pursued a relationship. But I think long as you're moving forward, you can pursue a meaningful relationship at the same time. Find a woman who's going to build with you, and it might even be easier back then when you're on your lower phases, because you know that she's not with you for X, Y, and Z. But go ahead, Box. I see you got your hand raised. You can weigh in real quick.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I get what the gentleman that you have posted up right now is saying, but my quick question is, does this work the other way as well? Because you could be ready as much as possible, but if your partner is not ready to as much as you, then it doesn't really work. You're gonna have to find somebody who is as ready as you. So what this gentleman here is saying, these things are what you need to work on and have ready before you can even be with a woman. Is that, do we have a same list of women of what they need to have before they even be with a man? I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I'm just kind of curious because I always hear it one way. I never hear it the other.
I think for me, honestly, I guess in my opinion, I think that women have a lot of pressure societally, especially with the whole Kevin Samuels movement. We are being told what we need to be on a constant level. Outside of that, how we supposed to look, how we're supposed to present ourselves, how we're supposed to dumb down the independent movement and having masculine traits and X, Y, and Z. There's a lot of pressure on us women to be a lot of different things and fill a lot of different shoes. And so when I hear men that have like a difference of perspective of like, well, do women have things that they need to be? Yeah, we need to be. I mean, I hate to say it, but if you look at what people are saying, to get a man that people consider like high value, quote unquote, and don't let me get started on that, because that's, there's men that call themselves high value. And I believe that if it's about the consumer, right? If we're going off of that same mentality, it's about what a woman deems you to be. You can't deem yourself to be that. Just like the opposite is true, where Kevin Samuels is saying in that same breath that a woman can't determine her worth. A man has to determine that for her. It's what he's willing to buy, not what she's saying that she is. And so, anyway, long story short, I think that women have a lot of pressure to be a lot of different things. And I think that men can kind of be more like, I'm financially stable. So all the character qualities I don't necessarily need to have as long as I make a certain amount of money. I don't have to look a certain way. I ain't got to be young. I ain't got to be fly. I can have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. I could do X, Y, and Z.
So
I agree. Hold on, y'all. We gonna get through the presentation. We gonna weigh in. I know it's just getting juicy already. We got a slide for ladies. I actually agree a lot. Well, I agree with Box. I think that the way the expectations are communicated are different for men and for women. And the way that we hear it voiced on online media today, it's voiced different. But I do think that there are expectations on both sides. But we're gonna dive into it. We just gotta get through this presentation. Everybody's gonna get a chance to weigh in. But let me let Jay get in there, because Jay does a lot of relationship conversations as well with his group, the Christian Singles Connect. Go ahead, brother Jay.
What's going on, Jay?
Hey man, just love to see you both. It's always great to see you, and you guys are always doing your thing over here. So excited, to be able to hang out for a little while. The only thing I wanted to say really quickly about the whole thing, when a woman is holding it down for a man who's trying to get there, financially, and then he does get there, and then like, in the case of, Amazon CEO or whatever, the guy leaves, his wife or whatever. This is not actually uncommon. In fact, you can see it in Waiting to Exhale, since we're looking back at all of these great movies. Classics. Because what happens with a lot of men is that the woman that they're with is not the woman that they want. And basically, men have a thing where they want to have somebody, because men get lonely too. But instead of marrying up the woman or whatever, they just kind of put her in a holding situation. That's why so many women are sitting around being in relationships for 8 and 9 years, and the man is never marrying them. But as soon as she catches him cheating, it seems like a year later he's married to who he was cheating with. And it's really just because the woman has been put in a placeholder position and he never wanted her. And so women have to be careful to be able to read the signs of whether or not the man wants to build a life, you know, together with him. Because if she doesn't, you know, she'll waste her time, you know, with some loser that maybe might make this money, might have this, might have that, but it doesn't matter if he leaves you.
There you go. See, I got some help tonight because I said I got Samantha and Jay's in the house. I said somebody asked, I'm hoping to learn some stuff, and I don't know. I don't be giving advice, but I'm hearing sound like I'm hearing some good stuff here. But we're gonna keep pushing. Thanks, Jay. I think you made an excellent point.
Yeah, he did, y'all. He did. He dropped straight fire in the chat, Jay. Wow.
But all right, here. So now we're gonna talk about some things, just from my perspective, why I think that many women are avoiding meaningful relationship today.
The history of it is men owning women.
Okay.
Women couldn't do certain things before they were married, if they weren't married. Women were not expected to have sex before they were married, or if they weren't married. So you would miss out on all of that wonderful sex, I guess. Big eye roll there. Let's talk about that another time. Women couldn't own property. Women couldn't own businesses. Women couldn't do anything at a particular point in time in American history and European history. And so marriage was a way for a woman to be able to have a home. In order for her to have a sex life, she had to have a husband. In order for her to have anything, she had to have a man. Things done changed.
Yeah.
So we don't need to marry you anymore.
All right, so y'all heard it. That was an interesting clip there. Marco, can you admit those people you got them? Oh yeah, thanks, Marco. So y'all heard it from her own mouth, and a lot of these little points I'm bringing up just really come from that video. And what she said sounds like it rings true from when I listen to a lot of women speak on the reasons why they're not getting married today. So a lot of what she said baked into that was career, money, lifestyle choices, because a lot of women are now they have access to the workforce, and they have dreams and aspirations and ambitions. They want to pursue that, and they put those things over a meaningful relationship. The pursuit of money, certain lifestyle things, you know, that's one of the factors. Let's see here. Destigmatization. I wrote that word and I can't even say it, of premarital sex. So y'all saw in the video where she said that, you know, before, you know, a woman had to be married to have sex, but now that's not the case anymore. Let's see here. Ability to parent without the father. And this, to the extent that we talk about, I know in the title, it's single, dating as a single parent. To the extent that we talk about, this is the only point I have here on that, in that, you know, nowadays, two people aren't needed in a home in order to raise a child. The statistics and data shows that the outcomes are better when two people are in a home, but because it's not necessary, this is a reason why I personally think that I feel like a lot of ladies aren't pursuing meaningful relationships because they're putting the motherhood before wifehood. What do you think about that, Samantha? Am I off base here, or what is it? Is it hard to say?
I would say that because people, I think in general, are not getting married. Because again, I agree with a lot of her points. That she's right. You know, we were viewed as property. There was a lot of different things. You know, even biblical times, there's things that you just, you know, you didn't even have a choice in who you married. You married who your father said, basically the highest bidder. You know, it wasn't about your feelings, your emotions, or even choice. And so she's right on that for sure. But I think that, you know, I think she's right about a lot of things, but I think that being a single mother, that means that you've had in a lot of cases, not all cases, but you've had a significant relationship with someone. And maybe that relationship did not work out the way you thought it would. I think that a lot of women may be waiting, kind of like the young lady said earlier about just being in a long-term relationship. It's like a mini marriage. And so it's like, why would I, you know, you go through some, you know, heartbreaking situation. It's like, why would I, you know, make this legal to make it even harder to get out of something like this? You know, a lot of women dealing with issues, even with their child's father or whatnot. And it's a hard situation, or you just don't have the time or the access to meet people, you know, different things like that. But most women that I've met that have children that are single parents, they want to be married. So I don't necessarily, or they want to have a significant or meaningful relationship at the very least. I haven't met a whole lot of single mothers that don't want something significant, especially because they have a child. So they don't want to just bring anybody around their child. So
Right.
they are looking for more meaningful connections with people as a parent, only parent of a child, in my perspective.
Now let
That's
me
my
throw
opinion.
this at you, Samantha, from a guy who's I've tried, I've been when I was out on the date, actively on the dating scene, and
Sure.
I date single moms and other people. It seems to me, from my perspective, it seemed kind of to me that it seemed that women who were parents didn't they didn't like have it. It didn't seem like they prioritized having a relationship as high as a woman who doesn't have a child. It seemed like the other
Really?
thing, yeah, from my experience. And I would think it would be the opposite, because I'm thinking if I was a father, and we entitled single parenthood, but if we just think about it, most of the time the lady's going to have primary custody, so that's why we're applying to women's
Yeah.
situation. But I know if I was a father of a daughter, I don't think that I could raise a woman in the way that a woman could raise a woman. So it would seem to me that there would be more of the person would want more of a meaningful relationship who is a single parent. But
Right.
I feel like,
How would you determine, just to jump in there, how do you determine that they were not
right,
as interested in a meaningful relationship? Was it because of the time, or was it what they were saying? Like, what about, because I think we can interpret our priority becomes something different. Like if I'm a single parent, if I'm a single person and I don't have a child that I'm caring for, my priority is me. I can move, I can go about as freely. So the only really thing that I'm thinking about is, if I, when I was without a child, was working, making money, and dating. Like that was the two things I was thinking about. Now that I have a child and additional responsibility, I was thinking about my priority is my daughter. So everything else kind of falls to the side. It doesn't necessarily mean I don't want a meaningful relationship, but my baby is my primary responsibility. My energy goes the most to that. Doesn't mean and I think sometimes, especially sometimes with men that are dating mothers or single mothers, they don't tend to understand that, like, it's not that we don't want a relationship or we don't want something meaningful. It's just that our priority is really our child, as our child. And
so
so
it's not to say that it's not to say that they don't prioritize it. It just says that being a mother is more of a priority.
absolutely, especially when you're first dating someone, you don't really know who this person is. You are going to be more picky. You're going to be more choosy. There's certain things that you're going to accept and not going to accept with certain mothers. Some mothers don't care. I am the kind of person that's very, very choosy when it comes to like who I date and who I spend my time with. But, I think that it's just your priorities are different. It's not my number one priority is to be married or in a relationship. My number one priority is to take care of my child and meet her needs. Everything else comes secondary.
All right. So that confirms my theory that it's not to say it's not meaningful, but there are other things that is not high on the priority. It's not highest on the priority list.
It's not as high
right
on the
priority list. Cheryl, if you want to respond.
Can I chime in on that? Is it possible to chime in on
that? Is that Cheryl?
No, this is Cheryl.
Sorry. I'm gonna let Cheryl get in really quick. Then I'm gonna let Bacchus respond really quick. But we got to keep it pushing, y'all. Damien, I see your hand, but we'll we just got to keep this. We got to finish up this presentation. I know it's an interesting dialogue we're having. We'll get into it after this. But go ahead real fast, Cheryl, and then Bacchus, because I saw you put your blue cap on, Bacchus.
Sure. I think there's one thing that should be spoken of. I think earlier you were mentioning that women are choosing motherhood over meaningful relationships, but there's one aspect in the whole view of people not getting married. There's that biological clock for women that we've not really spoken about. Whereas men can father children, up to 65 or whenever, women have a hard stop, with that. And so sometimes you have women actually choosing motherhood in the absence of a relationship just based upon the biological clock, because in the instance where the traditional marriage hasn't worked, or in the instance where a child hasn't been conceived up to a certain point, there are women who are making an affirmative choice in the absence of a meaningful relationship to have a child just by virtue of their biological clock. So it's not always prioritizing motherhood over relationships. it's really just understanding where you are with your anatomy and your biological clock. So I just wanted to put that in there because there's a lot of people that are in that situation.
Interesting. Go ahead, Bacchus, really quick so we can keep it pushing. I guess you just put the Bacchus. Did you want to weigh in really quick?
Yeah. Sorry, I was muted. I just wanted to say I didn't realize who that was. I was just taking it at face, and then I realized that was Superhead. And unfortunately, I'm not taking any advice from somebody
that was Corinne Stephens. Oh, I didn't even realize that.
I ain't taking advice from anybody who
I don't think she was giving advice. I think she was stating why.
Right. I see her point of view, but that kind of woman right there, look, she's been around nothing but high value men or men of means or whatever her whole life, and ain't nobody put a ring on it. And whether she says she wanted or not, she gets hers by breaking them off. Cool. Ain't mad at it one bit. Get your money. But that's not the kind of person that most men are going to want to wife in the first place.
Good point.
So my 2 cents is I'm not taking any advice from her. So whatever she said, that's cool. I hope she gets everything she wants, but no dice.
Yeah, I think what you said was valid. I didn't even realize that was her, but yeah, she does have a different experience. But the reason she gave in that video, I think they seem valid. When I listen to women, what women are saying as to why they don't prioritize a marriage, those points in and of itself stood on their own. But good pushback on that. Second reason, and we're going to get to this video here. Did you want to say something, Samantha?
No, I agree with you, Cardo, on that.
All right, so religion, and they're waiting for Boaz, and some people have some questions about Boaz. Let me just, we got a poll first. Let me go and get this poll out here. This one is this is our last poll, and it's for men and for women. So I'm going to launch here. The first question is, what's your gender? Second question is, when it comes to meaningful relationships or marriage, which gender struggles the most? And the third question is, due to a large number of people, do a large number of people use their parental status, spirituality, or career ambitions to avoid meaningful relationships? And you got a few options there. So go ahead and answer if y'all would. I'll give y'all a few seconds because there's a few options for that third question there. Let me explain the options on the last one. So if you can answer, like, people are only using parental status, they're only using spirituality, they're only using career, or are they using all above to avoid, or they're not using none of that. The poll is launched. Give y'all about 30 more seconds. I know y'all trying to figure it out. Man, these are interesting results here. I know it's not too interesting. It's about what I expected. We'll give y'all about 10 more seconds. Let me see. About 80% of people responded, so we'll go ahead and end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let me share the results here. So y'all see breakdown of what we got. About 30% are men in here tonight. And let's see here. When it comes to meaningful relationships, which gender struggles the most? I thought that y'all were a little more understanding, because to me, I think both are struggling equally. But y'all got a gender thing going here. I suspect that's what's happening here. And then the last one, people think that people are using most people think people are using all the above. Some people think career is a main factor, spirituality, parental status, and then a few think that people aren't avoiding meaningful relationships. Let me see. Is one of the fellas who we haven't heard from who answered that they feel like women struggle the most. If you want to be real brief, go ahead and let us know why. And then the lady, if you want to be real brief, that we haven't heard from on that question number 2. Y'all can just chime in really quick. All right, we got some shy folks. We'll keep it pushing. Maybe y'all trying to figure out how to get your mic off mute. Nope. All right, we'll keep it pushing. All right.
Ricardo.
Yeah, go ahead. Is that Kai?
No, it's Dominic.
Okay, what's up, Dom? Go ahead.
I guess for me, I answered that women are struggling, and just in my personal experience, it's because I had relationships where women would ask, like, I would ask them, what do they want from me? And it'd be like security and everything. And I give them all that. And then the pushback later would be just no time. And I've been with some moms and things like that. And I feel like it's a little bit of everything. Like, too dedicated to like focusing on the child, or like I'm so busy with work trying to pursue my career. And I'm like, well, you don't want to have kids anymore. So I don't even have that option with you. And I'm giving you everything you want. And the relationship is still not going forward because of your career or whatever else is going on. So it's just my little
Yeah,
input.
I know you only have your experience, but are you able to speak to the matter at whole? Do you think like if you just remove yourself from the equation
Well, yeah, I
overall?
mean, I feel like if I did remove myself, that's what you see a lot of women going for is like, and we just heard a few seconds ago, changing the priority to their children. And that caused confusion for me when it's like, if you're in a committed married relationship, do you change your priority to your child away from your husband? Or is it just after divorce and failure into that? And then you see a lot of women going for careers right now and you know, trying to heighten that career and then fighting the biological clock. Like you said, you can't pursue a meaningful relationship if you're putting all your energy into a career and then trying to get everything done and have children by 35.
There you go. Does one of the ladies want to, Samantha?
I had a lot to say, but I'll let D talk.
We'll let D go, and then if you want to say something, Samantha, you can go weigh in on what you just heard there.
Sure.
So I'm a single mother now. I think most of you guys know I was married for 12 years. I have now a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. When I divorced, I got definitely focused on my children, on me, on my finances. I literally got in my bag. I went back to school, to master's, to bachelor's. You know, I'm in the military. I mean, I just went full focus, full for me. At this moment in my life, because I just got out of a relationship. A lot of you guys know that too. I was in a 4-year relationship and I realized that just wasn't going anywhere. But sorry, I'm over here trying to exercise as well. But to answer the question, right now I am prioritizing my life, the woman of God, a godly woman. I'm trying to ensure that when my kids get out of this house, I am the woman I want to be for the man that's going to come into my life, if that makes any sense.
Did you respond that men are struggling more or women are struggling more? That's the only thing I wanted to hear people respond. I know everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I put men because I think men, and again, in my opinion, are not being honest with themselves first. So therefore, the women are getting their traumas and there's just not a lot of honesty going on. So I think men are struggling. If they stop struggling, then women wouldn't struggle. So it's to me, I think it's led by men.
All right, thanks, D. Samantha, you wanted to respond to Dominic?
Go ahead, D.
It sound like you think men are struggling more too, huh?
No, honestly, no, I don't. I said both. But I think that for me, going to what Dominic said, do you want me to speak to that or do you want me to speak to the poll?
If you want to speak to what Dominic said, because it looked like you had swallowed when he was talking. And y'all, I know y'all are trying to raise your hands and weigh in, but we still got a lot more to go. And I want everybody to kind of weigh in after this presentation. So I'm lowering y'all hands. Y'all get a chance to weigh in after. I know it's kind of spicy tonight. But yeah, if you want to respond to Dominic, Samantha, because I saw you took a swallow.
Sure. Yeah. So Dominic, what I would say is I had my daughter in a marriage and it was something that was planned. In the marriage, especially when I was always kind of raised traditionally in the sense of like the man, then child, then you take care of your man, he's your priority, and then child and everything like that. But we kind of were aligned in me caring for her and caring for him. And that was a lot to kind of get into. And you can really, you can really lose yourself in that. And if you're taking care of a man and I was taking care of a man and taking care of a child. But I think that on the other side of divorcing, I wouldn't necessarily look at it as failure, but it was something that occurred. That wasn't something that I wanted to happen. None of us do. But I think that when you're saying, like, when you're finding women, just kind of like what Dee was talking about, it's like when lives are you're responsible for lives. There's a lot of things that happen within a woman psychologically. I mean, you're going through a place of like, okay, now I've got to provide. Now I've got to do X, Y, and Z. Now I'm pushing myself to levels I wouldn't necessarily do in a marital sense because I'm, caring for my spouse, or like one of the young ladies talked about, you kind of can lose yourself in that in your marriage and focusing on the needs of your spouse, focusing on the needs of your child. And then now you're in a situation where you don't have the spouse and you've got to figure yourself out. And sometimes a lot of women, sorry, Bacchus, I was about to curse you out real quick. I'm pausing for Jesus. So anyway, nonetheless, I say all that to say that, I think that we start to prioritize building ourselves, really trying to make sure that we are caring for our child and caring for ourselves. I don't think that necessarily, I don't know about your experiences. It sounds like your experiences haven't been positive, but I think a lot of women that kind of have to become single and then focus on themselves, they're creating who they want to be, who they ideally, like they're finding their purpose. They're finding their new sense of self. They're trying to figure other things out. They were a wife and a mother, and now they have a new identity and they're putting that energy into that. And so I think that people can get lost in the shuffle, especially if they try to date too early or date before they've healed. I think that that's where you can find women that may not know themselves well enough or the new version of themselves well enough to get into a relationship. I think women, women and men can jump into relationships way before they're supposed to. And so that's what I think.
There you go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all that. And I see how that could happen on both ends because I was divorced and married, and I invested all my early 20s into my wife and accelerated her. And I got left that same way with no kids, but I get it, But when you're giving everybody everything they want or ask of, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I agree. No, I totally agree. And I think that a lot of, especially if you don't know yourself, how can I really tell you what I need? If I don't really know the new version of myself outside of a relationship, can I really tell you what I need if I don't really know me? And I think a lot of people kind of jump into things without really knowing who they are and what they're looking for. And therefore there's a lot of confusion because as they're figuring it out, they're figuring it out on the job. And then it makes people, they might say, in the beginning, I wanted, security, And the next thing they're like, I want a purpose partner that we can build together and do X, Y, and like people, if we don't know ourselves or we haven't taken the time to get to know the new version of ourselves, then we are misleading, not purposefully, but because we're learning on the job.
And everybody
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Everybody else who's trying to respond, I promise, just hang with us. We believe it or not, I don't even know if we're halfway through with our presentation, but y'all are gonna get a chance to weigh in really quick. So the third thing on this point was waiting for Boaz, or who said wait for Boaz. For y'all who don't have a Christian upbringing, or I guess it's just an Abrahamic story. So I guess Christian, Muslim, or whatever. Boaz was a character in the Bible. And Ruth was his love interest, for lack of a better term. He was a wealthy man. He was a relative of Naomi, Naomi was Ruth's mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law, Naomi's sons died, and then Ruth stayed with Naomi throughout it all. They moved to a distant land, and Boaz was sort of this redeemer of Ruth. And just a little point that Boaz is kind of held up as like the archetype for the sort of man that a lot of women in church are waiting for. So this is a little clip here from the Bible. We're going to church a little bit here, y'all. The Lord bless you, my daughter, Boaz exclaimed. You are showing even more family loyalty now than you did before, for you have not gone after younger men, whether rich or poor. So we see here that Boaz also was an older gentleman, older than Ruth.
Yes.
And then here, this is just a tweet that somebody said, Boaz is a standard for men. It takes a strong God-fearing man to stand firm in the situation Boaz was in. Guys, this is the standard for you. You should be a moral leader who protects the purity and reputation of women you associate yourself with. This was real manhood's about. Your Ruth will come. Likewise, ladies, please don't compromise yourself for God's standard to get attention from a guy. Let the attention you receive from any man be attention that stems from your inner beauty, character, and virtue. Your Boaz will come. Some more tweets here. Let me admit this person here. I refuse to settle for anything less than what God has for me. Won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. Boaz should be the standard for all men, God's strong God-fearing man, moral leader, high sense of honor, virtuous and godly. Ladies, don't settle for a boy. Wait for Boaz. And then here it says, Boaz prayed for Ruth. Your Boaz will be a man of prayer, a man who is concerned about your spiritually and physical, concerned about your spiritual and physical needs. So I just do all that to paint a picture of who Boaz is and who a lot of ladies are more or less hoping for. But the question that I really have here is, well, here's another one. Girls, remember, Ruth patiently waited for Boaz. Y'all see this. Ruth patiently waited for Boaz. Wait on your Boaz. Don't settle for his relatives, broke ass, po ass, lying ass, dumb ass, drunken ass, cheap ass, good for nothing ass, lazy ass, and especially beating your ass. Make sure he respects your ass. So this
a lot of y'all gonna be single for a very long time if y'all listen to this.
So this, and mind you, this topic of this conversation is, why aren't we pursuing meaningful relationships? And I think it's because a lot of us are waiting for the perfect people. And we just applying this to ladies because Boaz was a gentleman in the Bible, but guys, we may have our own version. This is from a spiritual perspective here. But as you can see, Boaz, that women are being encouraged to wait for Boaz. But the question I have is, did Ruth actually wait for Boaz? And
no,
and we
he did not. He never talks about Boaz praying for Ruth or Ruth praying for Boaz. It just happened. And I think that this is like a misinterpretation. Like if you know, I can break down the story at another time, but like if you understand the dynamics of the story, typically in that culture, if you were a woman whose husband had passed. So Ruth, Naomi had 2 sons and a husband. They all passed away within 10 years of each other. Then there was her two daughter-in-laws had the choice to either stay with her or to leave. She gave them that option. Typically, it was standard practice for them to go back to their homes to be married off again. And Ruth decided to stay with her, which was completely against the culture at the time, which is why she's praised for her character. And then Boaz was the kinsman redeemer, kind of foretelling the story of Jesus, but he wasn't looking for her. She was doing her thing, doing well in what she was doing for her family. She was doing something that in that culture was not stereotypical at that time. And she was honoring her mother-in-law. And because of that, he took notice of her character, because she didn't have to do what she was doing. And then Naomi said, hey, listen, that is our kinsman redeemer. Go lay with him. Go prepare yourself and lay with him.
Let me get into that.
Yeah, sorry.
So I'm just going to break down the scriptures really quick. Box, I'll let you respond in 1 minute. Here, just let me get through this slide here. It says that then Boaz asked his foreman, who is that young woman over there? Who does she belong to? And the foreman replied, she is a young woman from Moab who came back with Naomi. She asked me this morning if she could gather grain behind the harvesters. She has been hard at work ever since, except for a few minutes to rest and shelter. So Ruth was on her purpose. She was doing stuff. She was trying to make a living for her and her godmother. So she was active. And then let me see what my sayings for here. Okay, there we go. And this is Naomi giving Ruth instructions here. She said, now do as I tell you. Take a bath and put on perfume and dress in your nicest clothes. Then go to the threshing floor, but don't let Boaz see you until he's finished eating and drinking. Be sure to notice where he lies down. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down there. He will tell you what to do. And she said, I will do everything you say. So they were active. The older sister, her godmother, her mother-in-law was giving Ruth instructions, and she was being active. She wasn't waiting for Boaz. Ruth was making a living. She was doing things. She wasn't waiting though. She wasn't sitting around like Samantha said, praying. So go ahead, Bacchus, really quick, Bacchus.
I can't wait for Netflix to drop this series because y'all talking about it like it's about to be the bomb. Because I really want to see this. I don't know no Boaz. I don't know no Ruth. I ain't not met nobody that met none of these things. If we're going to talk about what's happening today in this modern, what we're doing now, I think my 2 cents, we should kind of stick to that. Because everybody want to claim themselves as Boazes, everybody want to claim themselves as Ruth. If they ain't that, let's just keep pushing to what we see in our day-to-day, because apparently we do not see these things. Sounds great, but I want Netflix to drop this, man. I'm most definitely gonna actually pay for my subscription.
In fairness, guys aren't really going around saying I'm Boaz. It's really women who are saying they're waiting on a Boaz, and it's really a lot of churches are telling women to wait on a Boaz. Luz, I'll let you. Luz, we'll give you a few seconds if you just want to say something really fast, Luz, because we got a lot more to get to. Go ahead, Luz, real quick.
I was just gonna say with the whole Boaz and Ruth, you know, people see them as characters in the Bible, and it's like, oh, you never gonna find a Boaz. But I think sometimes people miss the points. I think it's just like the qualities, you know, like he respected her, he left things back for her to glean on, he noticed her, he, you know, asked about her. Nowadays, you ask someone about someone, it's like, you know, someone is either.
Luz, sorry, Luz, but we're not questioning whether Boaz was a good man or whether it was something that women should want. I think the thing we're pointing to is, should women be waiting for this, or should they be doing something? I didn't mean to cut you off, but I don't think we're questioning the Boaz or whether it was something something desirable or what have you. I don't think that's in question here. The thing we're just mainly asking is, should you be waiting? And the key word on waiting. And I don't think.
Okay, sorry. The last person made a comment about that person didn't exist. So sorry about that.
You're talking about Bach. You're responding to Bacchus specifically. Bacchus has interesting takes, Luz. If you never heard him before, so you got to bear with him. He's gonna say a lot of stuff. So just but we're trying to. But yeah, it's all good. All right. So this was okay. So this was a lady that, and this waiting on Boaz mentality is it's a lot more prevalent than people give it credit for. And it's because it's happening a lot. And this was a sister I was talking to. I blocked everything out, but I stopped talking to her because I could tell she was in this thing where she was waiting for a perfect guy. And it was a whole bunch of stuff. And long story short, I just told her, I said, look, I don't want to, this isn't really working for me. I don't want to communicate more. She left the meetup group. It is what it is. But this was something she shared. And it just, to me, it just shows to the heart of the mentality here. And she's talking about she's talking about Jesus. And she said, he's my business coach, cool, my financial advisor, cool, my influencer, cool, my matchmaker. Okay, so this is where we're starting to get into a little bit of murky water. So Jesus is your matchmaker. Then she said, he's the love of my life. And I get it, I get it. But the thing I just really want us to try to think of, like, when I read the Bible, I don't see that people really giving attributes of a lover to God. Like, God is God. But a lot of times in today's time, it seems like we're replacing God as it's weird. It's like we have a video. We're going to get into this a little bit, but to me, it's like this is a warped mentality a little bit. This is my own personal perspective. What do you think, Samantha? Am I off here? Am I just reading too much into what she's saying here?
I think that there are some things that you are correct about. I think that we have to understand that in the Bible, God talks about giving us what we need, not what we prefer. And women confuse preferences with needs. Like, oh, I want him to be 6 foot. He got to make 6 figures. He got to do, all of these different things. And they're like, well, I'm gonna wait on that because that's what the Lord has for me. And the Lord may not have your preferences. Lord has what you need, but you're overlooking that because of the box that you think it's wrapped in. It's not wrapped in that. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's my perspective on that. I think that Jesus is if God was our husband per se, I mean, they talk about the bride and God in the church, and Jesus being the church being the bride of Christ and things like that. I think that we have to look at its covenant. He's talking about covenant, and the whole Bible is based upon different covenants. And the marriage is a covenant. And so I think when we take things out of context, there's a lot of things that can get misconstrued. Right.
And so and y'all heard from Samantha. She she's really knowledgeable in these things. She's been diving in with her own Bible studies and what have you, and her own study of scripture. But to me, this mentality, it seems like a slippery slope that a lot of Christian ladies are having. Yeah. That, like making God your matchmaker. To me, it seems like it's a slippery slope to doing a cop out. We're saying if Jesus don't put somebody in front of me, it's not going to happen. Well, what are you doing? Right. No. I feel like some people can kind of fall down that slippery slope here.
Agreed.
Go ahead, D. Real quick, D, if you could.
I agree. I think the Boaz, the God, all of that, I think that's a cop-out. Like you said, I don't think that they're doing the work. And if you do hear someone saying that, you should actually ask them that. Well, what are you doing in the meantime that you are waiting? And I guarantee you will not get an answer.
There you go. And I just saw this video. I thought it was funny.
You are the healer. You are the provider. Jesus, only you can heal this man. Lord God, in your name I pray.
But so just a quick little funny video. One, person's dead, lying dead, and one girl's pumping on chest doing CPR. The other one's just praying. Why not do both? Is all I'm saying here. Let's be practical here. I just thought that was interesting.
Single, never married, no children.
It's a long video. I know a lot of y'all don't like his brother, but just bear with it. It's Kevin Samuels. This is one of the videos where I tell everybody I think he's overall a poor cultural influence, but this is one of the videos where I think he gets a lot of stuff right in this video here. So just bear with it, y'all. And Samantha, if you need me to pause during the video, just let me know.
Man's gonna need
what do we got here
after this one?
I have been waiting. I've been a Christian. I became a Christian at 21, and I have been waiting in purity for basically 23 years to find someone.
You've been waiting in what? For purity, you say?
Yes. I do not have sex. I do not sleep around.
That's why I hear a lot of times is women using God and Christianity as an excuse for their fear and why they didn't get out here. There's no way you're supposed to be single.
Yeah. I know. I haven't really put myself out there. People have found me, honestly.
Because this isn't normal, man. It's simply not normal. This is not even normal human behavior. You can't tell me my first commandment in the Garden of Eden was to be what? Fruitful and multiply.
To be, yeah.
And you're using God, women like you use God as a reason to mask your dysfunction. Dysfunction, inability to function. Life is about people and relationships, ma'am. And your relationship with God is one thing, but God did not tell us to not be fruitful and multiply. We're supposed to be together. You have actively done this. That's why I asked, have you had therapy? Because something's off. My show represents the first real time where women had to actually sit down and listen to the reality of what's going on. And I ask, what are you waiting for? Mr. Right?
I guess from a worldly perspective, yeah.
But see, that's not what you're supposed to choose. You're supposed to just pick a suitable man.
There you go. Do you agree with that, Samantha? He asked her, he said two things. Are you waiting for Mr. Right? She said, yeah, I guess. And he said, you should just be trying to find a suitable man. Do you agree with that take?
I think that in this situation, especially if you watch the video, she's somebody that's dealing with significant trauma. And so I don't think that she should just settle with any man, but I do think that she should be putting herself out there. And I think out of fear, she's used her spirituality as a way of not connecting or discounting people early on because of fear. But that's my thought process. But I don't think that it should be suitable man. I mean, suitable, I guess, if you use that adjective, a man that is good for her or good, meeting certain criteria. I don't think she should just settle for anything, but I think that she should put herself out there. Yeah.
All right. Does y'all see your hand?
You don't get to be this way, and it's God's plan. You've had to actively take yourself out of consideration. Whatever your reasons are, you still actively took yourself out of consideration. You do not prioritize relationship. Okay.
I agree with that.
But you, unlike many other women, have had more options. 6 feet tall, model, height. Come on, ma'am. It ain't about God. And ain't nothing. Where is Mr. Right in the King James Bible? The New Living Version. Where's Mr. Right anywhere in the text? Anywhere. Old Testament, New Testament. Which chapter? Which verse? It's in Proverbs, Psalms, Matthew, Mark, what? Revelations?
Are you talking about just like
Mr. Right? This thing you're waiting for. Mr. Right. Where is he?
Oh.
Where is the text referring to? Wait for Mr. Right. When you sit down with your pastor and the people in church and interrogate what you believe about relationships, what do y'all talk about? When you go to singles ministry and say, I'm 43 and single and I want to get married, what happens when you sit down with your pastor, the singles ministry or the women's ministry, and y'all talk about your beliefs and how they line up with what God wants in your life and what's going on in the world and the church? What do they say?
What do you, okay, so
there is no but,
I am planted in a church. I just, so there is
you're
truth
planted
to
in
you
the church,
saying,
but if you want Mr. Right or a Christian man, you're not in a church that facilitates marriage between singles. The reason so many
I feel like there are a lot of churches that aren't facilitating marriage between singles. He said something there.
pastors don't like me is because I point out the fact that they're not helping their single female parishioners couple. Do you tithe?
And
thank you. $5,000. $5,000 over 50, less than 60. That's $5,000 to $6,000 a year. Single women are a cash cow for the church. Cash cow. That's why male membership in church is decreased by about 40%. Why would you got single women lined up in church religiously pumping in $400 or $500 a month per head? Ask a woman if she's gonna spend $400 or $500 on a man, she tell you no, but she's gonna put that in the offering plate for Jesus. Ain't following the pastor, ain't really trying to find her husband. I'm just gonna wait for Mr. Right. And they're like 5,000. I want you to think about sitting on a church aisle. Go to your, I used to sit around church, I'm like, this whole pew is full. Boom, 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 boom. 20, 30 women. 20, 30 women, $500 a head. Man, that's $15,000 per pew. 10 pews deep, that's $150,000 a month.
All right, so there you go. Giselle, if you want to weigh in real quick, Giselle. As y'all see toward the end of the video, he's breaking down the economics of it. He's talking about how a lot of men are leaving the church. He's talking about that it doesn't benefit a lot of churches to try to really solve a lot of his problems if they're, if people aren't trying to be meaningful and intentional about having a relationship. So he just broke down the economics here. And this is one of the times where I agree with Kevin Samuel's commentary wholeheartedly. Giselle, I saw you had your hand up a few times. You want to weigh in real quick?
Yes, I think Black churches in particular cater just to the people who already have established families, but they're not targeting or facilitating to single people. And from my experience that I saw, and that's why, just like Kevin Samuel said, a whole bunch of mass of single women at church, because it's like a taboo and you're dissuaded from coupling up. You're at church, so you're supposed to be on your Christian behavior. Whereas I've been to other cultural churches, and for example, more so in, just let me put it out there, like more so white churches, they encourage single people to couple up, and they're not so shy and there's no stigma there to be hugging and holding hands, and in the open. That's just from my experience. But the whole waiting on a man, that's foolishness, because anything that you want, you have to be proactive. You have to position yourself. The men are hunters. Of course, you don't need to hunt and play the man's role, but you do need to put yourself out there and put yourself into position with anything that you want, right?
All right, thanks, Giselle. Nika, real quick, Nika's my girl, I gotta let her weigh in there. We gotta keep it pushing, y'all. We got one more long video, but we're gonna open it up. I know y'all want to weigh in. You can be real brief, Nika.
Yeah, I was gonna agree definitely with what Kevin said, as well as the young lady that just spoke. I definitely feel like you have to figure out your part in the situation, and rather than waiting or whatever, like, you need to be working on that, because you're gonna keep having the same choice in person. You're gonna keep having the same actions that's being taken, and you really need to use that time to do the work for yourself. Like Samantha said, figure yourself out and where you're going to be able to tell somebody what it is that you actually want or what you're looking for. Like the idea that you have that's based off of what you're seeing or, you know, what looks good that you see other people with, you need to figure out what works for you and go from there. And then, you know, maybe it will be a better outcome. So that's what I've been doing and is going just fine, you know. And I'm saying when you're busy with that, you don't have time to, like, you're not looking at it like I'm waiting for someone.
All right, thanks, Nika. Anna, I saw you pop in there too, Anna. What's up, Anna? We're gonna keep it pushing here. Let's see here. So these are just my opinion on why people aren't prioritizing meaningful relationships, and it's just a conglomerate of things and thoughts, ideas from other stuff in this presentation. I just kind of assembled it all together here, and then we got one more video, and that's gonna be it. I think number one, I think a lot of it has to do with fear. There's a fear of rejection, a fear of missing out. We talked about like how a lot of us are in a pursuit of sex where you think that the person we're with is not the right one. We're waiting for that Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong. We're afraid of heartbreak. Talk about trauma. A lot of us have had traumatic experiences with relationships in the past. So we're afraid to move forward. We're afraid to entertain someone new. Intimacy, a close partnership. We're afraid to be close with people because, you know, it goes back to the heartbreak thing. Last time we were close with somebody, we were hurt. We don't feel, a lot of people just don't feel it's worth it. They don't feel it's worth it to put in the work. They don't want to put forth the effort. A lot of us just have gotten comfortable being single. You know, I think Marco, I don't want to give too much of Marco's business, but he just said, you know, we were talking earlier and he said that, you know, he's cool. He's cool right now in a relationship because he just got out one and he's just comfortable. He likes it as is and he doesn't really see himself in the near future getting in a relationship. So we just become comfortable. Sex, I already mentioned that earlier. Accountability, we don't want to answer to anyone but ourselves. When you're in a relationship, it requires teamwork. You know, you just can't stay out all night like you were before, but we like doing things on our own. We think we have to have it all together. We're not willing to sacrifice, or we're not willing to let go of. We can't let go of that person. You know what I mean? In order to move forward with another person, we can't let go of that thing. You know, we're holding on to things we shouldn't hold on to, and we just don't want to let it go for a meaningful relationship. These are all different kinds of reasons here. Waiting for Mr. Right and Mr. Wrong. And we don't work well with others. And that's going to get onto this video. I'm going to share this is his last video, and then we'll open it up. And this is from I don't think she's a dating coach, but this is my spirit animal in terms of the people who speak about relationships today. This is another about 4-minute video. We're going to get through it. But I really liked her, and this is Love Dorsey.
We on here, and we're answering the question that so many...
Her language can get a little spicy also. Just bear with her. Just listen to the heart. Listen to her heart. Don't listen to her communication too heavy, but listen to what she's saying.
Females and some men have nowadays. Why struggle with a man? Why would I be doing bad with a man when I can do bad all by myself? Or I can do better by myself? You don't have teamwork skills. You don't work well with others. Bitch, you don't know how to communicate. Ho, you don't know how to operate in a household where everything don't just go your way. That is why you do better by yourself. This is why a lot of y'all don't understand the concept that you can be in a group or a team and things should be going better. But if y'all don't know how to organize, if you don't know how to manage emotions, if you don't got boundaries, you will use one another up. You will always feel like a victim if you don't have goals and the right mindset. If you can't take personal accountability for your choices, you will be in a space where it will feel like it's worse with a partner than it is by yourself. You could be single and still get a man and still struggle if you don't understand teamwork. If you don't understand money management, if you don't understand communication, if you don't understand how to coexist with another person and be fruitful, you will fucking struggle with a man. That is the why, because you don't know how to do it as a team. You don't know how to be a wife or a girlfriend in a relationship where things are positive and productive. That's the answer to your question. You don't know how to pick a dude that actually got the right basics and shit together for y'all to be in a space where it's gonna work better with two than one. A lot of y'all, the reason why it's so much easier to just do well by yourself is because you don't do well on a team. You don't understand teamwork. You don't know how to be submissive. You don't know how to operate from a space of compromise and multiple perspectives. Like, you don't know that. Well, I don't understand why would she be with him? It seemed like she doing work. Yeah, because she don't have no socialization skills. She don't understand how to be in a relationship and build with a partner. She only know how to do things her way, her house, her way, her rules, her mindset, her perspective. So obviously everything goes better when it's just her. Just like the little kids that don't know how to share, don't know how to be nice, don't know how to make friends. Of course they're better off just staying at home with the only child syndrome, sitting there by themselves. Of course it feels better to just be alone. Cause bitch, you got no skills to mix with everybody else. You don't got no charisma. You don't got no, niceness to you. No multiple perspectives when it comes to life and conflict resolution skills and how to communicate and how to cope with things not going your way and how to compromise. You don't have these things. So of course it seems better to just be single all your fucking life. You lack the skills. You don't know how to pick them. You pick people that they don't have their basics together. So when you mix your life with them, of course you're doing worse with him because he didn't even have enough to be at the table with you. And that's still your fault. Still not his fault. Bitch, if you met me and I ain't got no car, not my own place to live, don't got no stable income, and you come mix your stability with mine and then cry because you're doing worse, that was your bad. What you thought the fuck was going to happen when you take 2 and put a -1? Get less. How did you think you was adding when the person that you with, that you mixed yourself with, got less? That's still a you problem. And it's a lot of y'all niggas the same way. What the fuck I'm gonna have a bitch for when a bitch ain't just, cause you don't know how to pick them, bro. You suck at picking the right female. You lead with your money, your pockets, your designer, and that's why you keep getting gold digging thought bitches. And this is why you feel like it's better off just to be a bachelor. But real niggas know that got wives and genuine women in their corner, it actually suits you better to find a wife. One that's gonna serve you and keep house and be able to be a helpmate to you as you connect and, go through life and build a family and build on your goals. But you don't know how to pick them. That's your problem. You lack the ability, the social skills, the multiple perspective, the leadership qualities as a man to pull a female like that. Stay single and fuck these hoes.
That was Dorsey. And like I said, y'all, just don't pay attention to language, pay attention to message. And she said a lot there. For men, she had heat and spoke for men and for women. And she said something there toward the end there, especially a message toward men. A lot of we're leading with our wallet, picking the wrong women, and they complain about women. And then we have trauma, and then we can't move forward saying all women are like this. That's because you was leading with your wallet on the last one. You picked the wrong female. Now you carry that forward to your future relationships, and you treat all women like the last one who treats you. But that was it, y'all. We're gonna let y'all weigh in. Don't y'all, Samantha did an awesome job. Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you. Thank you. I had fun. I hope this was spicy enough.
All right, y'all. So the way it works, if you want to weigh in, just hit the reaction button, and we go by people on camera first, and then we go to folks off camera. If y'all want to weigh or respond to something we saw in the presentation, the overall question is, why aren't people prioritizing meaningful relationships? And most people agreed that we're not, I think about to the tune of 80% of folks agreed that we're not prioritizing meaningful relationships. So why isn't that happening? Y'all can respond to that. Y'all can respond to, are people using spirituality in place of having a meaningful relationship? Are people using their career ambitions? Are people, in a constant pursuit of sex? So y'all go ahead and get your hands raised, and we'll, like I said, we go to folks on camera first, and then off camera, and we try to go male, female. I'm betting Kai. Do you want to weigh in, Kai? Raise your hand if you want to weigh in, because I know you can't figure out your reaction. Now, you don't want to weigh in, Kai? Not yet. If ever you do want to weigh in, raise your hand or something, or let me know, and I'll let you weigh in there, because you always have a mature, a dope perspective. We got Ken in the house. Okay, we got a lot of folks weighing in. So we're gonna go Jay, then we're gonna go Bacchus, then we'll go Ken, and then we'll go to Damien and Giselle, who are off camera, and we'll let y'all respond. And if me and Samantha cut you off, it's just to get some understanding, y'all. It's not really to interrupt your train of thought. We're just trying to get some understanding here. But welcome, Jay. You partly inspired this conversation too, and we'll let you go. Let me see if I can spotlight you here.
Mic check. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah,
Let me unmute myself. I'm ready. I'm playing.
Y'all can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yes.
So, I think you're kind of proving my point with this whole presentation. I appreciate you. I think we're not good at long-term relationships. I think we're good at situationships, friends with benefits, sneaky links, side chicks. That's what we're good at. I'm sure, not to bring up the young lady's name, she mentioned situationship, like it was, like I wouldn't mention that, because that's like a weird in-between space. But I think we like that gray area. And I think more to your presentation, it's the way that we don't have to be accountable to someone else. So when we in these situationships, friends with benefits, you could do what you want. Nobody can tell you nothing. You have flexibility. You could date other people. You could talk to other people. You could have sex, don't have sex. And it never builds anything serious. And if they do something you don't like, you just keep it moving. So this is why I mentioned before that I don't think most people that in the dating market are not looking for anything long-term. They're definitely not looking for marriage, especially when some of the women are focused on careers or if they have a kid. I don't think any man wants to be second to anything, not a child, not a career. So I'm just keeping it like that. But I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. That was one of the rare instances where I agree 100% with everything you said, and it's very insightful that you said there. We're not prioritizing it on any level. We're more comfortable in the gray area. We're more comfortable with situationships, transient sexual encounters and relationships, and we just keep it pushing. We don't want to have those long-term relationships. We don't got no ladies that want to weigh in. Ladies, get your hands up.
I have a question. Oh, okay.
We try to go to people.
Oh, that's a female. I'm gonna let a female talk. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Samantha. You're co-host.
I think for Jay, I think it's interesting. So do you feel like even women prefer gray areas, or do you think because men can play in the gray area longer, we're now in a society where I feel like because of how things are, men are it's like a buyer's market. It's like y'all are the ones who have more or seemingly have more options.
I think
so do you think that it's because men like gray areas, they're able to do what they want to do, and then women just act like they like it and kind of acculturate to that because that's what men seem to like, so that's what they're doing? Or do you feel like
it takes two to tango? So there has to be someone with sneaky link and with. There has to be someone that's being the side chick. So I'm not going to put this all on men. I believe that women are mimicking men as, oh, he can do it, I can do it too. You could have side chicks, you could have a roster, I want a roster too. You want to go get your education, I want to get my education too. And I can wait long to get married, except that's the difference. Our clock is different. I could be like George Clooney. I think he had his first kid like 50 something. I could wait a long time than you. And a 50-year-old male on the dating market is higher than a 50-year-old female on the dating market. Let's just be clear. And I think that's where people forget that we are not equal. We are not the same. So you mimicking a man, I think is more detrimental than a man just doing what he's doing.
I agree with that, Jay. I do agree with that.
All right. Damien, go ahead, Damien. Thanks, Jay. I agree with you 100%. And kudos to you.
I give him like 94.
Don't want to give you full prop. Go ahead, Damien.
Hi everybody, this is my second meeting. I was at the last one. I was talking a lot in the chat, but I had a question, like two questions. So is it the belief of the presenters that a meaningful relationship is only relationships based around marriage? And the other question is, can you tell me or describe any type of relationships that don't have meaning?
I don't understand the second question, but for me, for a majority of people, yes, and for me, this is my personal opinion, meaningful relationships are one that ends in marriages. But that's not to say that it's all, but I think for majority of us, a meaningful relationship is one that ends in marriage. Damien, this is my personal perspective, and I'm not a coach, or this is just my own thought process. What do you think, Samantha?
I think that Damien, to your point, I think that you can have a long-term relationship that is meaningful. That's why I try to use the term meaningful. But I do think that these days people can have very superficial relationships that don't have a whole lot of meaning. It's just fulfilling a physiological need and not necessarily about a meaning more than I'm horny or I'm lonely and you're meeting that need for the moment. But I think that I do think that, there's different terminologies, but I think ultimately for myself, like Cardo, I think marriage is the highest level of meaningful relationship, especially with covenant involved as far as my beliefs. you know, that
Okay.
everybody can have different things, but that's my belief system.
Okay. Yeah, because my curiosity comes from like, you know, people have past and things that they've learned from throughout time that may make them better partners in the future. I would still want that there to be some understanding and meaning in that past relationship that may not have worked out. Doesn't mean that it ended in anything negative or hate, but maybe it didn't just work out. And the communication and the things people learn throughout their lives, it should retain some meaning, and it shouldn't be looked at as meaningless. And that was my confusion in the beginning, because it seemed like meaningful relationship only meant one thing. But
no.
then the other question is basically,
right,
okay, so outside of the belief system, I think every relationship has meaning. So that's why I asked the question, can you just find a type of relationship that would have zero meaning whatsoever? Because even if you use the word loneliness, I think a lot of people are looking to get partnered or paired with whoever type of situation they want to kind of fight against that feeling of loneliness, right?
I think so, but I also think that if it's not a significant, so let's say, for example, I'm feeling lonely. I meet some guy at a bar, I don't really know his name. I bring him back home and I spend time with him. And we didn't exchange numbers, nothing like that. I don't know if I would call that meaningful. I would call that you fulfilled a need. I don't even know your name. But if we're talking about somebody that is, you know, a situation where I'm lonely and I'm looking for a partner, and I start spending time with somebody and I'm investing more energy and more time into that person, then I think that is meaningful, because I'm investing more energy, time, and likeness with that person.
Right.
So then my question is this is my last point, and then I will mute again, I promise. So are you saying meaning comes from the amount of time someone is willing to invest in a relationship?
No, I think it depends on the person. It like that person, you define what is meaningful. I define what is meaningful. And so like, if you, like, for example, there's men that are like, oh, she was just an F, or she was just something that I just did in that moment. It wasn't nothing for real. You know, that's, you determine the meaning of that person. And I think that we determine the meaning, not outside influences. We do, the people inside the relationships.
And I think we're splitting hairs with Damien in terms of the overall, what I mean by meaningful relationship. Yeah, if you had a relationship and it just didn't work out, but y'all were moving forward and progressing, and y'all both grew from it, you know, it was a meaningful relationship. I'm just talking about intentions and in terms of what people should be trying to pursue. The majority of us should be trying to pursue a marriage. And you know, and we're not only talking about, when we talk about meaningful relationships, you can have friendships that are meaningful. So we're splitting hairs a little bit. I'm not getting that technical with it, but I'm just more so speaking to why are we avoiding those sort of things. So that's all we're getting at here. Go ahead, Bacchus.
Oh, my bad. I wrote it down this time so I can be quick and simple. I just want to say the reason for the question that you was asking, the marketplace hasn't been more free. And that's why a lot of guys and girls are doing what they are. No longer are you restricted to, you know, getting married earlier and raising a family and whatnot. Now everybody has the opportunity to live their life and do the best, do whatever they like with almost no consequence. In short, especially for the females, now they get to be men. They get to do what men did, and not realizing till later that the men are like, yeah, that's great. We had fun with you, but that's all we're going to do with you. The rules do not apply. A lot of females think they could be the boss bad chick here and live their 20s doing all this F-boy stuff and think they're going to hit 30s and become, you know, just the best housewife ever. It doesn't work out that way for everybody. And I got to pour out a little something for Jay. This is some leftovers I had, but man, Jay was spitting hard facts, and I co-sign all that all day, every day. So, but that's all I have to say on that part. Look, everybody's going to do what they want to do, but there are consequences to what you do and how you do it. Being honest with yourself and being honest with what you're doing out in these streets is only going to leave you with the best options. People are going to lie. People are going to cheat. People are going to go different ways. But if you're going to play this game, don't think that you're not going to get played also. So if you know you're coming in this game, you want to marry, whatnot, you really have to be focused on that and let people know that you're dealing with off jump I want to marry. If you're not about that, of course, you got to put people through the ringer. They're going to talk what they want to talk because they want to have you in bed or they want to use you for this or whatever. Just stay true to yourself, true to the facts, and try to stay in reality. A lot of us live in fantasy. I'd rather work on what I see every day than what I believe other people will tell me. But that's what I have to say for now. So I just want to leave that right there.
There you go. Thanks, Bacchus. And remember, if y'all want to respond or weigh in, I had 2 people message me a direct message saying they wanted to respond to something someone has said. Just so there's a reaction button at the bottom of Zoom, and you just raise your hand and you'll be in the queue. And we go to folks on camera first, and then we go to folks off camera once everybody has gone and spoken. So y'all, if y'all can do that, don't be scared. I know we got 70 people in here. So it's no big deal. We all family here. It's all positive vibes, and we're just trying to get some understanding and growth. So nothing to be scared of. Don't be shy. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I was going to say something, but then I heard Samantha say something about men have a lot of options. Samantha, the truth is, for our community, brothers who are above a 7 have a lot of options. If you are below a 7, you do not. In fact, we are the only community that I can think of in America where our counterparts don't date their counterparts. So if she's a 5-looking sister, she's not dating a 5-looking brother. When I travel, I can go to Central America, I can go to Cuba, West Africa. Sisters will date in their lane. I think that's why they're not having these relationship debates every day on social media. And I think the reason why we have this change in dynamics is because economically, professional African-American women are in a different position than a lot of their counterparts. Now, trust me, there's some rich sisters in Africa. I stayed at this sister's house. She owns it, 6 units, bro. This thing was beautiful, but it's a small percentage. In Africa, you are rich or poor. But in America, because we have a working class, these women feel entitled to get men that are out of their physical lane. And when it doesn't work, they are upset. Now, trust me, there are a lot of guys doing it, but they know that's the trophy wife. And they realize once the money's gone, she's probably going to go. So if you're looking for long-term, chances are you're going to find it in your beauty lane. If you're looking for a trophy, then you're going to get the same results as guys who do that. But you will never, ever, ever, no matter how much money in your bank, think you could be a 5-looking sister and get Idris Elba. No brother left high school not knowing what his beauty score was.
There you go. I feel like Ken always hammers in on a similar same point. I don't know, Samantha, you want to respond to that because it sounds like he was just, and I'll respond to it real quick, Samantha, I'll let you go. I think, Ken, because of the advent of online dating, I feel like, and the world just becoming more connected, I feel like we all have a lot of options, but in a lot of times, in a lot of cases, the options that we have aren't options we want for a lot of us. Because I found that people across the board are attracted to attractive people. So like ugly people don't like, I'm sorry, I know we don't like to talk about looks here, but people who are less attractive don't like other people who are less attractive. The less attractive people still like attractive people. So it creates like a bottleneck at the top for a lot of people, whereas the most attractive people are, they have like their pick of the litter more or less. And the people at the bottom, they still have options because of like online dating, it's just a click, the next option is a click away. And with just social media and what have you, but for a lot of us, the options we have aren't options we like. But what do you think?
Just a quick rebuttal to that, Carter. If that was true, brother, then why is it when you go to Cuba and all these other places, 5-looking sisters are dating their couple? I even asked a woman, like, why are you talking to me, whatever? And she's like, well, I have a kid. I have these type of issues. What guy is going to want me? I was like, it's amazing how they have an understanding of what their market value, but here, there seems to be an inflation of what the market value is. Just because you have a vagina does not give you Halle Berry access. Just like if you're an average looking dude with a lot of money, it doesn't make you Denzel Washington, but at least that unattractive brother realized she's here for the money. He's not disillusional to think it's like, oh, I got a great personality. Like Notorious Big told you, I'm ugly as shit. Excuse my language. He knew it. Unfortunately, our counterparts are not, realizing that. And no one's really ugly. You gotta be medically, jacked up to be ugly. There's a huge gap between ugly and attractive.
I hear women say that a lot of guys, they're looking for like an Instagram model. So you're saying like it's just women who are trying to do the they're trying to date outside their lane, but do you think
Denzel Washington married a woman who was less attractive than his? And he said, because I was looking for someone that was going to be a great mother. Men street ninjas are different. They were raised by females. They don't think like us. But most men, when we leave high school, we have a practical understanding of what our lane is. And most of us try to stay in that lane. I mean, few of us dabble out, but most times we try to stay in that lane. If I'm a five-looking brother, I'm not going higher than 7. With the exception of my ex-wife and 2 other sisters, I try to stay in that lane.
Did you want to say anything?
My question is this. So how do you know, like, I've never been I've never looked at it that way just because no one's ever put me in a lane. Like no one's ever said, oh, this is your value. This is who you should date. This is who you should be attracted to. Like, this is where you should go. I've never ever been told that.
We put you in that lane the way we treat you.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, I would like to chime in here because I personally, that's kind of tricky, right? Because I mean, I've been hit on by all types of men. Some men that everyone would think is attractive, some men that some women might not think is attractive. So I think as a woman, like that's kind of a tricky thing. But also I will say the last thing that I'm looking at when I'm dating is how a guy looks. That's the last thing.
That's the first thing.
That doesn't really.
That's the first thing I'm looking at.
Exactly. That's why it's switched for men and women. It's so different.
I think that women, I don't think that a lot of women are honest with themselves, because when I just go out into social settings and I observe the men that women go after, they go after the most attractive guys too. And cause you know, if you just look, an attractive guy looks in his inbox and he looks at the women, it ranges across the board. So I think everybody's trying to go after attractive people. Jenna, you may be the exception, but the exceptions don't make the rule. And I feel like I cut somebody off. Oh, some people are saying in the chat that I'd be all over the place. I'm not all over the place, y'all. I'm very nuanced and I have a balanced perspective and the ability to see both sides. And a lot of times with things I say, I'm playing devil's advocate. It's not my personal opinion. I'm just playing devil's advocate for the sake of conversation. But I'm in the middle on most issues. I'm not in the manosphere.
Colonel, just one thing to Jana.
Go ahead.
You know, the handsome guys that I see that hit on unattractive women, they tend to have a common denominator. They don't have that much money. There are a lot of handsome homosexuals, and I think that's confusing a lot of women. But if you ever see guys with money who look good, they're not hitting on 6 and 7s. Like if you're Bill Gates, you ain't eating at McDonald's.
Well, here's the thing that I wanted to say to Jim. I think guys, this is why I think women get confused. Men will approach and they will go after women across the spectrum, attractive, unattractive. But the thing is, what is the intent and motivation? A man will go after women across the spectrum for sex across the board. But when you talk about marriage and long-term commitment or a relationship or anything like that, it's a little bit different. So if you're trying to judge, well, men go after these women, that woman, so they're not really looking at looks. No, they're looking at looks, but it's different. The looks, you're less stringent on the looks in the bedroom than you are for looks in the marriage and who you're going to see day to day, face to face. So it changes. So women, y'all can't go after the sort of women that y'all may even see men with or see men going after, because it's two different things. Let's I'm gonna let Giselle go because she's been trying to get in there for a little second. Go ahead, Giselle.
Hello, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking, but I'll add my perspective. All right, so it's a little excerpt because I'm multitasking. So I'm talking about cultural influences and I'm posing some questions. Are men and women being trained to date to marry? Do we see those examples readily in our community? No. We meet expectations that are set for us. So has the expectation of marriage been set for both men and women? No. In the community and at home? Some women are trained to go find their husband in college before they finish, so they have someone when the dating pool is open. Black women and men are trained to finish school, develop their careers before they finding a partner instead of building together. We don't want to build with each other. Are we taught to build with each other? Our practices start from home. We do things that are valuable to us. Therefore, do we value marriage like we value education and friendships? Where do our values lay? Values are learned in our environment. And of course, economics is an influential driver with any decision. And those are my 2 cents.
Did you write that yourself or where's that come from?
Me. And of course, I listen to little Kevin Samuels every now and again.
You have a blog or something? Or what's up with that? That was very insightful and well thought out.
Thank you. Well, I'm an educator, but that was just my insight.
Look at that, y'all. Look, man, we have some interesting people with some interesting perspectives. And wow, that was good. That That was good, Giselle. Did you write that down, or that was off the dome?
I wrote it down because I'm kind of cooking, so I had to write it down. I was off my head, but I wrote it down.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Let me see here. Welcome to some people been kind of diving in. Y'all welcome. Thanks for coming through, y'all. We'll probably go for about 20, 30 more minutes, and then we'll just have a free for all here. But anybody else who hasn't weighed in, you want to weigh in, just hit the reaction button. It's been an interesting combo. I'll let Bacchus go and then Tisha go.
All right, I just wanted to throw this out there. What everybody was saying, it seems kind of like something I realized back in my younger days, because I'm an old ass man. But it seems life seems like a club setting from a man's point of view. I could just say from a man's point of view, there's only part I know. You walk in a club, 10 o'clock at night, you hollering at all the 10s, all the hotties. Would you do that all night until you hear last call for alcohol, then you gotta leave out of here at the club with some. So you might go with the 6s or the 5s or the 4s or the 2s or whatever the case may be, something you may never tell your boys. You might tell them, meet me out back in the alley after the club. This is pretty much how I see life in general. At a certain age, you're out here, you're doing your thing. You want the top notch, the highest of the highest. You think you deserve, you feel that way. But if you're not getting that as life goes on, as you get older, and life moves on, and your net worth and what you're doing in life, etc., you realize maybe I'm shooting too high. I need to bring it down a bit. Your morals kind of change a little bit. What you want kind of changes, and then at the end of it, you just want to leave the club, or you want to end life with somebody. The longer you take, if you still at last call and you still trying to holler at the 10s and you can drop down to the 6s and the 4s or the 5s, chances are you're going to end up out here not being with anybody. So that was just my 2 cents from listening to everybody, what they're saying on this, and thinking about, my party days, I was a bouncer and all that stuff, what life really is. And you just you hate it, you want to humble yourself. You think you deserve this when you might only qualify for that. I deserve a Bentley. I only make 50 grand a year. That shit ain't gonna happen. It is what it is. So I'm gonna jump in this Honda and go home and be happy with that. So that's all I got to say on that part.
Here you go. Sound like more or less.
Bacchus, I'm so proud of you. That's the best thing you said since you've been on.
But yeah, Bacchus he's been coming around. He's been seeing the light somehow.
I'm so proud.
You guys have shown me different. I'll tell you that. I ain't gonna lie. If it wasn't for this, I'll still be a lot worse. Y'all have shown me better than what I've seen. I appreciate that. Not you, Brandy. Not you, Brandy.
All right, y'all. So this conversation is, let me just say a quick word here, plug one of our next online Zooms. This conversation is more or less we're trying to ask why aren't people prioritizing meaningful relationships. But our next one in June, we're going to be reading this book by Hill Harper, and he's talking about how to have a meaningful relationship. A lot of people, they attend these conversations and they say, we're not talking about solutions and what have you. So this was more or less the prelude to this thing we get here. But go ahead and read your book now, because when we do the discussion, we're going to all have already read the book when we have the discussion. So go ahead and get this book. It was only like $10 or so on Amazon. It's by Hill Harper. It's been a great read so far. So just go ahead and plug in on that, y'all, if y'all want to join the conversation. Because last time, a lot of people showed up and was like, oh, I just want to hear what people thought of the book. It's a good book. I'm telling y'all now, it's a good book. Go ahead and pick it up and read it so y'all can join in on the conversation that we're having in June. It's an easy light read too, so it's not gonna be too demanding. Go ahead, Tisha, you're up.
So yeah, I'm just gonna go backwards a little bit here to Jay, in reference to being in that gray area of a situationship. Thank you for your commentary. I do appreciate that. Although for me, just speaking of me, I'm not necessarily comfortable in a situationship. I went from saying it was a relationship to being in a situationship because I was confused by his wants and his needs. Because I care about this person, I'm not ready to walk away from it, but I see a clear exit at this point because I need more communication and understanding, more clarity from him. And because of the type of personality that he has, it's hard for me to get clarity without him going around in a circle. The next point I want to make is, you guys talked about attractiveness. I think, actually, I'm gonna go back. I think women have a harder time in the dating realm because of the expectations that social media and men have put out there for us. There's such a high expectation of women. I don't think men have it as hard as women do. That's all I have to say about that. And I'm gonna hang around a little longer, but I'm getting ready to log off because I gotta get ready for work.
She gonna
Tisha, block
that
him.
bomb.
That's what we need to do.
She dropped that bomb and said she gotta get up out of here.
Can I say
Rosa,
something to her?
Rosa, what do you mean by block
Tisha,
him?
can
I'm
I
sorry.
say something to her? Tisha, let me say
It
something.
doesn't sound like a good situation.
Yeah, Tisha, I'm gonna just say this as somebody told me. Two things. Assess your situation right now and think about in a year. Could you be in the same situation that you're in right now within a year? If nothing ever changed, would you be okay with it?
And that's why I say, Jay, I'm not comfortable in a situationship because I'm assessing where I want to be. And if it doesn't work out this time, I'm walking away, regardless of how much I love this man, regardless of how much I want to stand by him and be the woman he needs or wants or is looking for. I can't keep going through this emotional roller coaster, which is why I'm here in this group, because I'm really trying to break down and understand me in this situation so that when I walk out, I'm out. I'm not walking out with regrets or what ifs. I'm gone. Peace out.
Sound like you're gonna give him another round.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on. We can't just have everybody just.
Yeah. Don't skip over Jay. Let me respond a little.
Hold on. We can't have everybody. If y'all want to react, just there's a reaction button at the bottom, and you'll be in the queue. But we got to be in order here, y'all.
Let Bacchus Jr. get something in there. Go ahead, Jay. Say what you gotta say.
Tisha, I didn't mean to come at you, but I'm gonna tell you something a little harsh. I think you like the roller coaster. You like not knowing where you stand. I think you're addicted to it. And I think you're not going nowhere. And I think you're going to stay exactly where you are with that same person. And that's going to be your guy until he's ready to move on. Because I believe that men that are interested, they're not going to leave it vague. They're not going to keep you guessing back and forth. So I think he has you where you want to, and you like it. So I'm going to move on to something else. I think when we frequent advice that we give to younger men, well, I've gotten this advice also, is that when you date women and they have you want to assess a relationship with their father. So if they have a good relationship with their father, you're like, yeah, she respects men. That's just the thinking. So when you have, and most of us, like me, myself, I'm from a broken home. My parents weren't married. So when you date people who don't have marriage foundation with their family, they might not seem to put, marriage in high regard. They might not value it. So I think that might have to go into a part of it, is that where does the background of this person come from? Do they have a good foundation on marriage? Do they have good examples of marriage? Are their parents married? And that might take some influence on if they have a high regard for marriage. Is marriage important for them?
There you go. I don't want us to dive too deep on Tisha. I think she just said it off the cuff. She seemed a little nervous, and sometimes when you're nervous, you just let stuff go out. But we're not gonna dive really deep on Tisha. But I do kind of agree a lot of what Jay's sentiments. I can't say whether or not you like it, but people treat you how you allow yourself to be treated. And I don't know how long you say. I think you said you've been in that situation for a matter of years. So definitely just something to think about. But let's not dive deep on Tisha, y'all, because I think she was, this is a safe space for everybody, but we're not gonna dive deep on it. We're gonna go Carlos, then Naomi, and then Ken. And then I think that Ken will probably close out.
Yeah, going back to Bacchus's club analogy, I think I don't know what percentage of that is true, but if it is true, I think it's for the vast majority of us, I think it's probably best to stay alone.
There you go, man. I don't know, man. I don't think we're supposed to be alone, but that's interesting perspective. And somebody Tay said, "Dang, Jay, I need to hear that." So that hard truth, it hits in the spot for some. But there you go. So some people were really feeling that. All right, Naomi, go ahead.
So for me, what I'm picking up on is kind of this generational and cultural shift as far as like going from a collectivist culture to this individualistic culture. So we kind of seem to be more concerned about our goals and our preferences and our individualist needs and wants. And, you know, we're giving up on how much more we can accomplish and build collectively. So I feel like I'm noticing more of a cultural and generational shift.
There you go. I think so too. I think there's definitely one, but we need to, I don't know, I'm an optimist and I'm real solutions oriented. And I feel like the way things are shifting and going, it's not in a positive direction. Somebody asked you, Jay, when was your last relationship? They want to know.
Who's asking?
Somebody was asking Jay that.
I was actually engaged 2 years ago and that didn't work out.
Oh, they weren't asking you, Naomi. They were asking Jay that. It's all good, but.
Oh, Jay doesn't talk about Jay's relationships online. Come on, man. Y'all know that. I know I keep everything general.
There you go. He's not ready to, he ain't ready to be accountable here. So he saw what Tisha did. Tisha shared some of her personal info. He's not sharing none of his. Go ahead, Ken. And I think Ken's gonna close this out and then we'll open it up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, someone was saying something like they're kind of confused about with men. I mean, we're not a monolithic group, but we're kind of easy to read. Like men who have women cousins and women associates, you kind of see their trend. Whenever she's more into that guy than he isn't into her, she seems to get dogged out. But when they get brothers of substance and quality and morals, and he's into her more than she's into him, I don't hear these women complaining. So the question is this: do you want your fantasy or you want reality? See, guys who want fantasy, they go to a strip club, but they don't try to make that the reality. I think there's too many women who try to relive their high school years and like, hey, okay, I didn't do so well then, so let me, now that I got a little money, why not I get this pretty boy, he's working at Walmart, he needs a place to stay, he can be my little trophy. That shit is not going to work because most of those guys or whatever, eventually it's going to be a lot of pain and aggravation. Every woman in my family and their cousins, their associates, their girlfriends who are going through a situation, it's always, she is probably about a 4, he's about a 7 or 8. Leave these pretty boy jailbird thugs alone and date in your beauty lane. Because I'll tell you right now, if Denzel Washington and these successful brothers can date down to be happy, that should tell you something. Like, I've never seen a brother say, I will deal with this 8 and be miserable instead of being with this 6 and be happy. Like, I don't see that too often for brothers. I'm not about street ninjas, but brothers.
There you go. So Ken's hammering home the same point. And I'll be honest with you, Ken, a lot of it started to come off as real self-serving. If y'all hear Ken, he's been saying the same thing. He's been saying women who are 5 stop dating a 7, and Ken has frequently said that he's a 5. So he wants the women to come on back home to him.
Oh, it's cool, bro. I got a passport. I travel outside the country. I'm going to Cape Verde. Like 195 countries.
Y'all really listen, Ken.
Hey, yo, Ken is a passport, bro. He with me, man. We be out here in these international streets. You don't need to worry about nothing over here stateside, because I guarantee he opened up his WhatsApp and it is fucking flooded with a whole bunch of baddies from.
Well, the funny thing, it's not poor women. Do you think it's like poor? These are educated women, like doctors, lawyers, everything.
Let me close this thing out, then we'll open it up and have a free-flowing combo. Samantha, our esteemed co-host, did you want to say any closing remarks, Samantha? I think Samantha had to step away, but if you want to, Samantha, do you have any closing remarks for us?
I guess not. Move on.
She might plug back in later. But I just want to say thank everybody for coming out. Like I said, for next call, we're going to do the conversation by Hill Harper. Go ahead and get that. I just want to thank everybody for attending this discussion. Get plugged in, y'all. We talk about, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but I did a survey of the group. And majority of people in our group are single. And I did a survey and asked, what are people looking for? Why did they join Meetup? And I found it interesting that 90% of us didn't join Meetup for to have like to find love. And that's not just, I know that people don't really see Meetup in that way, but I think it's just to that high degree that so many of us are single and so many of us aren't doing things to intentionally find love. And I think it's an interesting commentary on the state of dating today. But y'all go ahead, but if you haven't been intentionally pursuing a meaningful relationship, you can start now doing that. Just start now. That's all I want to say. Just start now. If it's something you desire, get plugged in. We have a ton of meetups with our group. There's meetups with other groups. You can get on online dating because we got to start getting this thing back on track. We got to start valuing marriage again. This is my own agenda, y'all. I'm trying to get I'm trying to see things turn around here because the way things are going is not positive. But we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. I think Harold had just posted Jazz Festival. He's gonna have a tent set up. It's gonna be a good time. We're doing a pool party and barbecue in May. That's happening. If you're a mother, come out to. We're just doing something really nice and simple for mothers at the park. We're gonna have massages available. Dominic has been helping to set that up, so we'll try to have that going for y'all. You all. We got a fish fry in August, I think in June. So we got a lot of stuff, a lot of interesting opportunities. So just be intentional, y'all. There's plenty of ways to connect and to meet people. So that's all I got here. And let me end the recording. Let me see how to do that.